ARMY asks, what did Jeon say that broke Jungkook's heart so deeply? It began not with a performance, but with a silence so heavy it seemed to split the air. A silence that followed a few trembling words from Jeon, words that would soon send shockwaves through the ARMY and bring Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, to tears on camera. What could possibly be said by one of the most composed and respected figures in global pop culture that would reduce his fellow member, known for his resilience and strength, to visible heartbreak? Witnesses described the atmosphere as intimate yet unbearably tense. Cameras were rolling, but this was no staged confession. It was not an interview, nor a publicity stunt. It was raw, unfiltered humanity, BTS not as global icons, but as 7 men confronting the unspoken truths that had lingered for years beneath their flawless public image. When Jeon spoke, his voice was calm yet fractured, as though carrying the weight of something long buried. Sources close to the group later revealed that Jin's words were not scripted. They came unexpectedly, during what was initially meant to be a private recording session, a moment intended to capture candid reflections on their journey. But what unfolded instead was an emotional reckoning that not even the members themselves could have anticipated. Jungkook, who had been listening intently, froze. The moment Jeon lowered his gaze and uttered his confession, Jungkook's expression shifted, first confusion, then disbelief, and finally tears. What did Jeon say? That question has dominated ARMY discussions across every corner of the internet. Theories range from professional regrets to deeply personal struggles. But what is known from accounts within the room is that Jin's admission was not about conflict, it was about sacrifice. He confessed to something he had carried in silence, the burden of doubt, the fear of inadequacy, and the crushing belief that at times, BTS might have been better off without him. Those words shattered Jungkook. For years, the youngest member had looked up to Jeon not only as a senior, but as a symbol of quiet strength, the brother who always smiled even when exhausted, the one who kept the mood light even under pressure. To learn that behind that laughter was a man silently questioning his worth was devastating. Jungkook covered his face, his shoulders trembling as tears streamed down. He wasn't just reacting to Jin's pain. He was realizing how little he had truly understood it. RM, ever the steady leader, was the first to move. He placed a firm hand on Jin's shoulder, his own eyes glistening. "You were never a burden," he said, voice thick with emotion. "You were our anchor." That single statement seemed to shift the room's energy. One by one, the other members began to open up, Suga speaking of his hidden battles with self-doubt, J-Hope admitting moments of creative paralysis, V revealing feelings of isolation even amidst millions of fans. It was as if Jin's vulnerability had given them permission to exhale after years of holding their breath. But the heart of that moment, the reason ARMY cannot stop talking about it, was not just Jin's confession. It was the bond it revealed between him and Jungkook. As the eldest and youngest, they represented opposite ends of BTS's emotional spectrum, one the nurturer, the other the dreamer. And yet, in that moment, they met in the middle, 2 men stripped of their personas, bound by honesty. Jungkook, still wiping his tears, reached for Jin's hand and whispered, "I thought I knew you, but I didn't. I'm sorry." Observers described the aftermath as both heartbreaking and healing. The session, once a private exchange, became a collective moment of release. Jin continued speaking, this time with a trembling voice but renewed resolve. He admitted there were times he nearly walked away, not out of exhaustion from fame, but from the fear of letting his team down. He spoke of nights spent questioning his value, of smiling through pain to keep others from worrying. For the first time, BTS wasn't just talking about success, they were confronting the cost of it. When the story leaked, ARMY's response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media was flooded with messages of love, support, and sorrow. "We thought we knew everything," one fan wrote. But this changes how we see JN, how we see BTS, and even how we see ourselves. Many expressed tears while reading fragments of the confession, emphasizing how deeply it resonated, not as celebrity drama, but as a universal human truth. Even those who seem unshakable can carry invisible battles. The timing of Jin's revelation made it even more poignant. Currently fulfilling his military service, he had returned briefly for a private meeting with the group. What was meant to be a warm reunion became a moment of truth, a reminder that even after years of shared triumphs, there were still things unsaid. Instead of hiding behind polished interviews or scripted comfort, Jeon chose honesty. And in doing so, he transformed what could have been a moment of weakness into one of the most powerful displays of brotherhood in BTS's history. The emotional resonance of Jin's confession extends far beyond a single tearful exchange. It symbolizes the courage to be vulnerable in a world that demands perfection. It dismantles the illusion that strength means silence. It reminds both BTS and their fans that authenticity, no matter how painful, is what truly connects people. As the dust settles, one question still echoes through the ARMY community: what else remains unsaid? If Jin's words could break Jungkook's heart so deeply, what other silent sacrifices lie behind the smiles and performances that have defined BTS for over a decade? The answers may take years to surface, but one thing is certain: BTS's emotional landscape has shifted forever. The confession was not about despair, it was about truth. And in the quiet aftermath, as Jungkook's tears dried and Jin's voice steadied, something profound happened. The walls came down. For perhaps the first time in their journey, BTS were not idols, they were simply human. And in that raw humanity lies the reason millions continue to love them, because even in their vulnerability, they remain unbreakable. Reality or manipulation? A deeper reflection on Jin's confession and Jungkook's tears as the emotional storm surrounding Jin's confession continues to ripple across the BTS fandom. A new question begins to emerge, one that demands deeper thought, not blind belief. Was this moment of vulnerability between Jeon and Jungkook truly as raw and spontaneous as it appeared? Or could it have been carefully curated, intentionally magnified, perhaps even manipulated, to provoke emotional engagement and media attention? Before we rush to defend, deny, or romanticize, it is worth asking, what do we really know for certain? The footage and accounts circulating online stem from various sources: TikTok clips, YouTube breakdowns, Twitter threads, and snippets allegedly leaked from private sessions. Each fragment appears convincing, each one seemingly authentic. But in a digital age dominated by edits, AI-enhanced audio, and narrative-driven algorithms, how do we separate emotional truth from manufactured storytelling? Is it possible that what we witnessed, a teary-eyed Jungkook, a trembling Jeon, was not a spontaneous moment of confession, but rather an amplified story designed to remind the world of BTS's humanity just when their presence in the media seemed to be fading due to military service and hiatus? This question may sound cynical, but it is necessary. After all, history shows us how even the most beloved artists are not immune to the pressures of sustaining relevance in a hyper-competitive entertainment landscape.